I used to see so many different species right in my own backyard. I was just a little girl shooting videos as a tourist, so that was scary. That incident was definitely scary.
How do you deal with time? I mean, to be there to get the picture right.
You have to have loads and loads and loads of patience. I actually started my whole journey in wildlife at the age of 8.
Do you ever remember your first picture? What was the first picture you ever captured?
From the corner of my right eye, I saw the barking deer come out like a bullet from the mud bank, and she came from the back chasing the barking deer, literally flying over the mud bank.
Be alert in the surrounding.
My third film is gearing up for release, which is on Asiatic lions, and I'm working on the 4th and 5th right now.
One funniest incident that you had?
Oh, I've been robbed by a monkey. My sandwich was eaten once by a monkey.
Are you serious?
Yes, when I was 11.
How did you know what has to be done with that camera?
Even if you put me in a jungle without a camera, I will be happy.
Wow.
It's always been stories that have been close to my heart.
Ladies and gentlemen, photographers, filmmakers, and my dear friends who are coming in for the first time. I'm assuming you're a wildlife enthusiast, right? So today we have the pleasure to welcome a very, very young, dynamic guest joining us. Yes, she's not just a photographer, but also a filmmaker. She's dedicated her life to the wildlife. Yes, she's a presenter and a visionary documentary filmmaker. So, are we ready to meet her? But before I get her on the show, let's talk about what all she's done. Yes, she's on a mission to shed light on the beauty and the fragility of the natural world. She's the youngest girl to have won the Century Asia Young Naturalist Award. She's also the first Indian woman to win Wildlife Photographer of the Year award. Guys, the awards are so many that I think that list will go on and on. Her debut documentary, Panche the Last Wetland, was telecast on DD National. She also made a film on the Bengal tigress named Maya, titled The Queen of Taru. So guys, I am super excited to get this conversation started. Are you also equally excited? Let's welcome none other than Aishwarya Sridhar, all the way from Mumbai, joining me in my studio at Level Up with Luv today. Abhi, what gets you to wake up every day from your bed?
My joint pain.
He's really gone through such hassles every day.
Oh my god, I had tears in my eyes. First paycheck I got was 40,000 at the age of 14 and a half.
साला शादी वाला फोटोग्राफर लग रहा हूँ मैं तुम्हें. I said यार I want to become a director. साला मेरा कोई पैसा तो नहीं काटेगा.
How does one become a photographer if he's using compositing?
How many times did love come in it?
Oh, love is the way of our life, man.
Listen, when did you pick up your camera for the first time?
At the age of 11.
An accident.
Can you imagine shooting Amitabh Bachchan for the first time and you get fired by him?
Oh my god, I think...
Just make this content viral.
It's a very tricky situation.
That journey began, I would say, magically.
So I said, 12 दिन के अगर जो 8,000 रुपया मिल रहा है तो ठीक है. And he was like, no, I'm paying you per day 8,000 rupees. You have to innovate and shock yourselves every 3 years.
That's a cheers moment. So Aishwarya, welcome to Level Up with Luv.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure having you here and talking to you today.
It's a pleasure to be here as well.
So Aishwarya, let's just start off with knowing that I know you started off at 15. So how did the professional journey begin at 15?
I actually started my whole journey in wildlife at the age of 8. So it wasn't at 15.
I said professional journey at 15.
Yes, professional at 15. So I think it all started because of my childhood. I had a very unique childhood compared to my other friends who were more city dwelling kids. I grew up in a very green place called Panvel. So I had wildlife in my own backyard. Okay, so I had all kinds of wildlife in terms of birds, wetland birds, Okay, we had wild boars and everything during the summers and everything. I used to see so many different species right in my own backyard. So that kind of, instilled a very deep bonding with nature in me at a very early age. And my dad's a member of the Bombay Natural History Society. So I used to accompany him on his wildlife adventures from a very young age. And I got very interested in wildlife. And I then began to, actually wonder as I was growing up, as to why can't I pursue a profession or a career in this field itself. And then at 15, I at the same time, like as I was doing school and everything, I was also conducting various, sessions in schools and colleges about conservation and about wildlife. And those sessions helped me connect with the students and with children of my age and talk to them about wildlife and everything. So that helped me get the Sanctuary Asia Young Naturalist Award at 15. And from there, it opened up a lot of doors for me. So I met all the bigwigs in the industry. And then wildlife filmmaking and wildlife photography started looking as a possible profession, because until then I never knew that this could be a profession. But at the Sanctuary Awards, I met Mr. Shekhar Dattatri, who is one of India's finest wildlife filmmakers. And that's when I got, to understand that wildlife filmmaking can also be a career.
Wow.
So
But let's understand, when did you pick up your camera for the first time?
at the age of 11, for photography.
Are you serious?
Yes, when I was
How
11.
how did you know what has to be done with that camera?
It was a tiny point and shoot. I mean, there was not much of settings involved in terms of aperture, shutter speed, ISO, none of that. There's a tiny point and shoot, which my daddy gifted me for my 11th birthday. And that's how my tryst with photography began.
Okay, that's amazing and inspiring when you are that at 11 you picked up your camera. And what are the first, do you ever remember your first picture? What are the first picture you ever captured?
I actually don't, but I think it must have been of a flamingo.
How did today you know so much about the wild, you know so much about birds, about animals. So tell me, what came first? The love for the environment, nature was more, or the photography was more? What was?
Definitely the love for the environment and wildlife. So I am a person who basically fell in love with nature first and then picked up the camera to tell stories of the wild. So for me, it wasn't the other way around, that I first liked photography and then zeroed down into wildlife. No. For me, it was definitely the love for nature that came above all, and it still is above all for me. Even if you put me in a jungle without a camera, I will be happy. I will be happy just observing wildlife, even if I'm not shooting it. So for me, yes, that's that's the thing for me.
So at 11 you first had the point and shoot, and the love for nature kept going up and up. But now, where did it become professional? So how did the professional journey start?
See, I've always been a child who has grown up watching wildlife documentaries. At that point, I always wondered as to, why couldn't I be doing, say, what Sir David Attenborough was doing on television? That thought and that question was always in my mind. As to, why am I not seeing someone who looked like me, who sounded like me on television and doing what they were doing? So somewhere that bug was there that I wanted to do something different. I did not want to go down the beaten career path and be an engineer or a doctor or a chartered accountant. And that's somewhere around my 12th standard, I would say, I felt that I could pursue wildlife photography and filmmaking as a career. And I veered down that path. So that's why I took up mass media in my graduation and specialized in advertising. That's a sad part. I mean, Mumbai University does not give you a specialization in filmmaking or photography. So I had only two options, either journalism or mass media. And journalism was more of print journalism. So it wasn't even broadcast journalism that I could take that. So I took advertising as my specialization and I graduated in mass media. Yeah.
How did your parents react to the fact that you said, I want to become a professional photographer?
Oh, they knew that all along. I mean, they knew that, I think, much before I knew that I wanted. And in fact, they were very happy I took a decision to go down a career path that was unconventional. Because my dad always keeps telling me that, you should not do what everyone else is doing. Be different. I mean, that's when the world recognizes you and looks up at you to be different.
All right. So, but how was it now the minute we talk about progression? So from their first award, so what kept happening? What doors opened, and what was the journey from there?
I think Sanctuary Asia, the Young Naturalist Award, opened a lot of doors for me because I began to meet a lot of people in the wildlife industry. I met with researchers, scientists, filmmakers, storytellers, policy makers, government officials, and I made some, beautiful friendships during the award ceremony and even after that. So that opened up a lot of subsequent doors for me. And then I began to, take photography and filmmaking more seriously. And I think the professional journey started for me after my first documentary, which was on Panjay, the vanishing wetlands of Panjay at Oran. And that got aired on DD National. And then the Tiger film happened. And now, I'm working on a couple of more films as well. So that's how the journey started in the filmmaking space.
Amazing. So what are the challenges you faced while the first ever film you were making?
See, the first ever film was at a point when I did not know what filmmaking was. Panjay, the Last Wetland, was made with archival footages that I had captured across a period of time. I mean, I've been visiting Panjay since I was 8 years old.
Okay.
And I've seen that wetland and the landscape transform. So Oran used to be a birder's paradise, but today it's a concrete nightmare. And that's primarily because the government, especially SIDCO, which is the local developmental authority, they sanctioned large tracts of wetlands and mangroves for development to the NMSEZ. And the Navi Mumbai Special Economic Zone came up, and Panjay was allocated for that. So even the thought of actually choosing Panjay as a topic was very organic for me because it was something that was happening in my own backyard. And I did not want to lose such a precious wetland and see that wetland also be transformed into a piece of concrete. So that's how the whole, inspiration came to make Panjay into a film, because actually it was my mom's idea. I was sitting one day with her, over chai and debating as to what I should be doing to save Panjay. And then she was like, you have so many videos, right? Put together a short film. And I had no idea how to make a short film because when I did the editing of the film, I was just about learning the basics of editing in class through my graduation course, and they were not teaching much. So Mumbai University's, I'm sad, but Mumbai University's curriculum for mass media, you learn just the basics. You don't learn anything much. And it's more of theoretical knowledge. You don't get practical experience at all. So I had to learn everything on YouTube. And I didn't have any mentor that time who I could look up to for advice when it came to filmmaking or storytelling for that matter. So the whole film, which is a very short film, it is about 19 minutes, that came completely from the heart. What I felt, the story I wanted to tell. It was well received in a few film festivals, and then it went on DD National for a broadcast. And that's when a lot of people, the commoners, came to know what was happening at Panjay. And it started a signature campaign. And at the same time, I also met a lot of environmental activists who were fighting for wetland conservation in Mumbai. So then I got connected to a larger community there, and I shared with them the photographs and everything that I had clicked. And that became a part of the proof that they later submitted to the authorities to protect that wetland.
So isn't it so heart-touching to realize that while you're saying that you were really learning filmmaking, you were not a pro filmmaker then, and that film was aired on DD National. So what are the feeling and what are the emotion you went through?
Oh, it was very surreal for me when the film was aired on DD National. It came during the Diwali weekend in 2018. So that is the first time I saw myself on television. And I was really, really, overjoyed to see that. So then I realized that this could be something that I could do in the future as well. I mean, although that film had, in terms of professional camera work, it wasn't great. But I felt that if I learned the tricks of the trade on the job, I could definitely, create stunning videos and documentaries which the world will look up to. So that's how, I'm still on the journey to be a filmmaker which, the world really looks up to.
Amazing. So I think what I learn out of this right now is it's not important to make a perfect film, but it's important to say a message and to tell a story which is close to you. So I think It was more about the story than the technical nuances of filmmaking, which made it reach hearts.
Yes, that's what started. That's how it started for me, because I did not know much of technical, details at that age. I was in my late teens, 19, 20 that time. So for me, I didn't know much of technical details, but what I had in was a burning passion to do something to protect that wetland. And I felt that the way in which, if maybe, visual communication, be it photographs or films, can really make that difference and make people look up and take notice of an issue. So that's why I made that film in the first place.
Wow. So now from this, let's go to the next story. So what was the next film? So I think, have you always had stories that have been close to your heart? Is that what you make on, or what has been the case?
No, it's always been stories that have been close to my heart. So the other film that I have made is on Tigress Maya.
Aishwarya has carried forward this interest in saving tigers with the film she's making on Maya.
When I went to Tadoba, the first tigress that I saw was a subadult called Maya.
In fact, I first wanted to make a film on Tigress Maya, and that was supposed to be my first film, but then it became the Panje wetland thing. So when I started documenting Maya's life, I had absolutely no idea or no thought also that I wanted to make a film. I was just a little girl shooting videos as a tourist, in the forest of Tadoba. Then, when 6 years of seeing her grow and seeing her mature as a tigress who was really redefining her wild genetics by displaying strategizing abilities, I felt that she could be an excellent story, for people to see. So I went back, I dug old archival footages that I had of her, which I had shot as during my visits to Tadoba, and I was extremely lucky to see her teach her cubs to hunt. And that moment has not been documented in the wild before, of a mother teaching her cubs to hunt. And we were lucky to see that not once but twice when Maya trained her cubs. And so I used all those footages and made Tiger Queen of Taru. And the people at National Geographic really liked that film. And then they aired it during the Big Cat Week in 2021.
Wow. So, I mean, this is very impressive of how you realize that this is a story and you at National Geographic pick it up.
Yeah, they picked it up.
Amazing. So, before we even go ahead and before we continue this conversation ahead, what is that message you want to give? Because there are a lot of other boys and girls like you out there who love the nature and who want to say stories, but they probably have not taken that first step. You did that first step by your first film went on DD, next one went to National Geography. What should be those 2-3 things that they should do? So it's for my audience there. Tell them, what do you think?
I would say have a story that touches the heart and soul of people. Your job is done as a filmmaker. Because when you're able to give out a message and tell a story that not only entertains but also inspires action, as a documentary filmmaker, you've done your job.
Lovely. I think very simple and straight. Amazing. So, but from all this, actually, what were the challenges before we talk about today where people look up to you, they love your work, but before you became the Canon brand ambassador or whatever we say, the well-known Aishwarya Sridhar, but before we get to that part of the journey, what were the challenges that came by being a female, being a girl? Was it a cakewalk or were the challenges?
No, it's not a cakewalk. It hasn't been and it still isn't. Being a girl, you do face a lot of misogyny, you face sexism, and that is a fact. And for me, when I started, I was young as well. I still am young. I'm 26. So, people, when they look at you, they see two combinations. You see a girl and they see a young person. So, they definitely question your abilities to deliver. And that is a sad part. I mean, if I was a boy, even if I was young, probably I wouldn't be questioned as to what is he doing in this field as a filmmaker. But as a girl, I get that asked a lot.
I mean, we are not in the 70s or the 80s, and yet this happens. So do you want to touch upon an example where this really happened? I mean, I understand it's a very sensitive issue, but if you want to share an example that where you face the challenge and how did you overcome it?
I've faced it on multiple occasions. So I can't just literally single out one example. but it kind of, even when it comes to, working with certain people, they don't want to take orders from a girl. So then you end up not working with them. And then it kind of, they go back and, talk behind your back. And it kind of, I've faced that. Okay, and I still face it. But somewhere initially it used to affect me, now it doesn't. Now I feel that maybe, because a lot of people also gave me advice, my close friends and family, they said, because you're doing something right, there are people who are, standing up against it. So just take it with a pinch of salt, focus on your work, let your work speak for itself, and you look at your goal and just continue working towards that.
Okay.
So that's what now I do that now.
So all you other women out there, where if you're in that situation where people are stopping you back, I think what Aishwarya is saying is very powerful, that I think learn to ignore, learn to let go of it, and don't focus your energy towards it.
I would say don't let your gender limit your dreams. Yeah, never let your gender limit your dreams.
Lovely. I mean, very powerful. So Aishwarya, let's talk about the bigger success. So how did that, the line of success from your first film to the second film, how did that start becoming more bigger and today where you are?
It all starts with my passion. I mean, for me, telling stories that matter, which are close to my heart, is the most important. So I don't, actually look at whether this film will be successful or not, whether this topic people will like or not. I just tell a story that I want to tell, which touched my heart. And I hope that the audience also accepts it. I mean, and they also love it. And thankfully, it has been that way for the first two films. My third film is gearing up for release, which is on Asiatic Lions. And I'm working on the fourth and fifth right now.
Wow. So how did National Geographic Explorer happen? How did you get the title?
I applied with a project and they funded the project.
Oh, amazing.
So that's how the National Geographic Society works. So you become an explorer with the society, and they kind of support the work by funding your project.
So can you throw some more light that today when somebody else assume I want to become a National Geographic Explorer, what are the steps?
You can go on their website and they have different categories that you can apply under. So storytelling is one such category. There's research as well. There is technology as well. There's education as well that you can apply for. If you're an educator and you want to make a difference through that, you can also apply for a grant. So they basically, it's a grant that you apply. So I applied in the level 1 category, and that's how I was selected.
Amazing. And now once you applied for the grant, what was it after that? I mean,
it's a long application process that you fill up. It's an online application form, and then you wait for the result. So it's a storytelling project that I went for, and mine is focused on wildlife trafficking.
Okay. So is there any benchmark or starting point that minimum qualification that somebody needs?
No, there is nothing.
So they are not, I mean, really bothered with you need to have this gear. It's not about the gear.
It's not about the gear. It's never about the gear. In fact, it's always about the story. I mean, till whatever my journey has been, I've realized that yes, gear does matter. Definitely it aids in the quality of your production. The bigger the gear, the better in terms of the work that you can deliver. Sometimes gear does limit you if you're looking for certain specialized kind of photography, like maybe if it's night, then I would need infrared technology. Drones definitely up the ante of your films. But if you're someone who doesn't have the budget, I would say if you have a strong story to tell it with the limited gear that you have within that limited budget. But please don't feel that because I don't have a red camera, or because I do not have an Arri or a Black Magic or a camera that costs lakhs and lakhs of rupees, I cannot be a filmmaker. It's not that. Even if you can tell nowadays a story with a hybrid DSLR or a mirrorless camera, your Canon cameras have got 4K, have got Canon C-Log and RAW codecs in a body like the R5C or the R6 or the 1DX Mark III. So you can pick up those bodies and still tell a story that's worth the salt. So
amazing. So how do you manage time? You're even a photographer, you're even a filmmaker, you work in Nat Geo, and you're doing so many different things. How do you manage time?
I think when you love something and when you're doing something that you love, even if you're working 15 to 16 hours a day, you don't get stressed. But if instead I was to do something that I don't enjoy doing, even 15 minutes of it will be stressful for me. But because I love my job so much, I really love what I'm doing, be it photography, be it filming, be it producing, be it directing or on-camera presenting, I don't feel that strain at all. Even if I'm working in a day up long hours, if I'm shooting continuously for 16 to 17 hours, I still don't feel the pressure.
So what's your ideal day like when you're out there in the field?
It starts very early morning at 4 o'clock. My ideal shoot days. I get up, get ready, have a bite, go out in the field, and I come back minimum only after 14 to 15 hours because we shoot at a stretch. And then you come back, I sit down with my team to review the footage that we have shot that day and then hit the bed.
So what's your team size like?
We're a good bunch of 3 people as of now, and my editors are of course separate, but I'm planning to grow that team size now to scale up operations.
Okay, so tell us a little more, Saming, because we've been talking to a lot of, everybody knows wildlife photography as an industry. People know wildlife photography is not really paying a lot of money. But I know it's a very challenging area to make money and a living out of wildlife photography. But since you are a photographer and filmmaker, and I know now you're making money through filmmaking, so what are those modes of making money for a newcomer?
See, as a photographer, there are multiple options. You can either be a tour operator and make money conducting photo tours. Okay, you'll make good money with nowadays because photo tours are really gaining in terms of popularity. You can sell your images as prints. Okay, you can conduct workshops and still make money. So as a photographer, there are different avenues. Of course, you can be empaneled with a magazine. That's the best kind of way. I mean, if your work is really good, you can be picked up by National Geographic or by the BBC and get assignments for them. You can do assignments for them. And that's really paying. If not, you can get into tour operating and then still continue your photography and manage with tours. When it comes to filmmaking as such, it's all about the story. So I make a good film, I pitch it to a broadcaster, and then I get the money.
Okay. But how, I mean, other than National Geography or BBC, who are the other players who are out there open to get
There's so
content?
many players. Today, OTT has opened up. I mean, look at Netflix. Netflix is really, pushing the boundaries in terms of documentaries. It's brought home the Oscar, a Netflix documentary. So it's all about, I would say, finally, the content is the king. If you have a content that touches the heart, the soul, and the minds of people, it drives them to act, then definitely you can, sky is the limit for you then.
So you mean, if I'm a filmmaker who's starting off and who has a story, are you recommending that I should first go and make my film and then take it out? Or I should go with my story to the networks and people who are there?
See, it works both ways. You can either do that, but then if you're a newcomer, a lot of networks don't invest in you. That's also there. So what I did was I first made the film to prove it to the network that I can deliver and then took it to them. That's what I did. But someone else could be different.
Okay, amazing. And what about your photography bit? I mean, I know photography for you is more passion, more fun. So how do you balance out between a filmmaking projects and photography? And when you go into the jungle there, are you doing both together or how does it work?
So if I'm working on one project on a film, then I only shoot videos. I don't take any photos. Okay. And photography, then I come back and I take short trips to fulfill my photography passion and to get images for Instagram or for competitions where I'm solely focused on just clicking for photography. I am not interested in videos then. I shut myself off from videos. But if I'm doing a film, then I'm only concentrating on taking videos.
So it's two separate things. I mean, when you're doing films, you're doing films. When you're doing pictures, you're doing pictures.
I'm doing pictures. I do pictures for myself. I do films to earn a living. And also for myself because I want to create a difference. I want to make an impact through my work. So through the films that I make, I hope to make people fall in love with nature. I want to take wildlife to the living rooms of people living globally. And not just on wildlife televisions, I want wildlife documentaries to be mainstreamed. not just, to not just show a film on wildlife, on only wildlife-centric channels. I also want someone watching NDTV or watching a Star World to also see wildlife in those channels. So I hope to, revolutionize that content space with that.
Amazing. I think that's a great mission that you're on, which you want to revolutionize the
content industry, basically.
So Aishwarya, you won an award at the Wildlife Photographer of the Year. So what was it? Which image was this?
It was my image on fireflies, titled Lights of Passion. And it's one of my favorites in my collection because you see a tree and you see the tree is completely lit up with fireflies from top to bottom. And it's an amalgamation of 28 different images, it's a stitched image of 28 different shots clicked over a span of 30 to 40 minutes.
Wow, okay, amazing.
So it has focus stacking and it has image stacking in it.
Oh, lovely. Amazing. So tell me how much patience is a key in wild. So, I mean, you sometimes go there and you don't get the shot. How do you deal with time? I mean, patience to be there to get the picture right.
You have to have loads and loads and loads of patience, I would say, when it comes to wildlife, because wildlife is unpredictable. Okay, you may see the animal that you're following, you may not see the animal you're following. Okay, and sometimes you have to spend hours and hours, if not days. I have spent days, in fact, to get that one shot that I wanted to. Like, for instance, I'll tell you about the Asiatic lion film that I was working on last 2 years. So we wanted to get them hunting. Now, till now, there hasn't been a single record, at least I have not seen a record of Asiatic lions hunting on camera. At least I have not seen that. So we tried, we followed one pride constantly for days and days, and finally we saw the lioness hunt. I mean, we got her chasing a spotted deer and she killed it inside. Okay, but we still got the chase, which otherwise people have not seen, or at least I have not seen it being documented on camera till now. So maybe someone has seen and
so how long was the wait? How long was the wait for that?
I would say 4 months.
So when you say 4 months was the wait, means how long were you in the jungle?
So we were going in and out. I mean, each shoot used to last for about 10 to 15 days. And, we tried different seasons as well. So I got it. Finally, I was able to capture this one moment in the afternoon. And it was somewhere in the month of February or March, I think, when we got the shot. I think it was February, after February.
So if I correctly understand, you spent 4 months waiting
to get one shot.
Wow.
Of it hunting on camera.
Okay, I think before you came, while I was sitting with you, I said, I want to come with you. I for sure don't have patience like that. I for sure won't be able to ever do this.
I have also built patience, I would say, over the thing. I still get impatient a little bit if I'm not getting the shot. But I've kind of learned, to be patient. I now understand that things are unpredictable. You need to keep working at it. You need to, at it, keep following the animal and just wait for that behavior to happen.
Wow.
About seeing the right moment at the right time.
Amazing. I mean, hats off. I mean, I'm just trying to imagine myself in that situation. I'm like, I work with people where I instruct them and I want it immediate. So when I work with humans, I'm so habituated to giving an instruction, getting the picture there. Like in the next 30 seconds, I want it. And here are 4 months.
I cannot tell the animal to act in a certain way. I mean, animals are not actors. So if I want, say, a beautiful frame is there, and there are many times, I've imagined that there is a very beautiful rocky terrain, and I've imagined having the animal walk up like a Pride Rock moment, of Lion King moment. The animal has not come to that spot. I have not got that. I mean, the shot is in my head, but it's not been translated into reality.
So this was about a moment now. Any other picture? Let's talk about any other picture where you knew that you set up stuff. So what was your maximum wait to get that one picture where you know that, okay, I know here this animal is going to come and you're waiting.
So I have had another moment, I would say, which is very memorable, is when I saw Tigress Maya trying to hunting down a gaur with her cubs and hunting barking deer. Okay, so in both these instances, in the first instance, I would say, we knew there was a gaur sitting and the gaur was just opposite us. And Maya was opposite on the other side of the lake. So there is this lake called Pandarpani in Tadoba, and there is Pandarpani 1 and there's Pandarpani 2. So there are 2 lakes. So we had just arrived. That was my first safari of that season at Tadoba. And we got Maya and her 3 cubs at the waterhole number 1 of Pandarpani. And she was on the opposite side of the lake. So I was photographing and everything. And I remember one of the uncles in the other jeep, okay, he mentioned that it was just a casual remark that he passed saying, Maya, come and kill the gaur. The Indian gaur was right in front of us. And I heard that remark, yes, and I was just laughing to myself thinking, what is he saying? I don't know if Maya heard him. Okay, it was as if she did hear him. She stood up and she was very alert and she began walking completely around the lake and she came literally in front of us and within a matter of seconds, she climbed the gaur and she broke the hamstrings of the gaur. Okay, and then she called her cubs. One by one, all 3 of them came. And then she made the cubs kill the gaur. In the end, they finally brought down the gaur. This was one hunt. 4 days later, we were waiting at Pandarpani number 2, the waterhole number 2, where Maya and the family was supposed to be there. We had got Maya in the moment the afternoon safari started. We saw Maya sitting and then she went over the mud bank. So the waterhole is here and there's a mud bank that surrounds it. So she climbed the mud bank and left. Now we were waiting because we knew cubs were hidden in the island on that lake. So I was waiting. We waited because safari at Tadoba is around 3.5 to 4 hours. So we had waited almost till the end of the safari. And my driver and my guide told me that there is a sighting, that they had got information from the other jeep that there was a sighting somewhere else. And they said, if you really want to see a tiger, we'll go there. Otherwise, we'll wait it out here. So I made a split-second decision saying we'll wait it out here because Maya and the cubs were there and I really have a deep attachment towards Maya because I have seen her from the time I was a little girl. So, and she's always found me in every trip of mine to Tadoba. So I said, no, I'll wait with Maya only. And then one cub came out and sat in front of us. Now, between this waiting period of 3.5 hours, there was a barking deer that came, drank the water and went over the same mud bank. So we were waiting. Then one cub came, the cub sat down. I picked up my camera and I was busy photographing that cub. And video was also being rolled on the side. Then suddenly what happened was we got alarm calls. So we thought maybe, Maya will now come over the mud bank and the family will come. So I'll get some photographs of mother and child interaction. And I was waiting for that. Little did I realize that she was stalking that barking deer behind that mud bank. From the corner of my right eye, I saw the barking deer come out like a bullet from the mud bank. And she came from the back chasing the barking deer, literally flying over the mud bank. And she chased the barking deer towards the cub that was sitting. Now the cub that was sitting as if on cue went in for the kill, and out of nowhere 3 cubs appeared and all of them brought down the barking deer. And Maya didn't even touch the barking deer. She just chased it to the cubs. It was the cubs who made the kill. It was their first kill in the wild as sub-adults. So that moment I was really lucky to witness because I have, people have told me they have spent decades going in the jungle, but they have not seen tigers hunt. And tigers are elusive. At the end of the day, big cats are elusive. But here I got a mother training her 3 cubs to hunt. And that for me is a moment I will always remember till my last breath because it was a moment that was out of the world. So that shot was on that I could get that only because I was patient. Another friend of mine was standing right next to me in the jeep. And few minutes before this whole thing happened, he left because there was an information of the other sighting. So he said, I'm going to click that. And he left. And he in fact told me before leaving, you're simply wasting your time. Today she's not going to come. And I said, no, I will sit here. So maybe it was patience. with a combination of little bit of luck that I got it. So patience does pay. Patience pays a lot when it comes to wildlife.
Amazing. So, I mean, I think while you're saying these moments and your experiences get me goosebumps. I mean, you're making me live that moment. I mean, I was not there, but
It was definitely goosebump worthy. I still get goosebumps when I think of that moment that happened.
amazing. So, Aishwarya, for a newcomer who's starting off to go into the wilds, what are the kind of preparations that have to be done before going there? Where do you actually do your research and study that, okay, where do you start? What's the start point?
So I do research in 2 levels. So first I do it on the internet, online obviously, to get all the information about the place, the distance, the nearest airport, all those basic information data points. Then I also call up people on the ground for information of what's happening. So if it's a film and I'm going to be following one particular subject or a character in the wild, I have to definitely ensure what is the chances of seeing that and that particular individual, because what is the frequency at which I can get that individual. If that individual is not sighted for once, there is no point in me making a film on that individual. So because if they are that shy, so if you pick a bolder animal in that area, you might end up seeing that particular animal more. So then you do that groundwork research with the local, and I always ensure I kind of involve the local community living there, because they have the best knowledge. I don't. I am someone sitting in a city, and when I go to the field, I depend completely on my local field guide, my field producers, who give me that information and ensure that I get the best sighting. We work as a team. So whichever park I go, I ensure the locals are a part of my team and they feel valued as well, because that for me is very vital.
So how have you built this network with locals? I mean, what's the network you built?
It's a relationship that you build with them. It's a bond that you create with them by, it starts. So initially I spend one trip just as a recce to just go and scout the place, just see it when it comes to filming. And then I go in, so there I connect with the department also plays a very crucial role, because you have to have the support of the local forest department. Without that, you cannot do your work. And they are doing such fantastic job in protecting the local wildlife. So having that equation with them is extremely important.
So while we talk about issues of the conservation issues, what are the issues you like talking about, and what is the issue you want to bring out to the world?
I want to highlight wildlife trafficking, especially when it comes to the pet trade. And that's what is, my next film is all about. It focuses on the illegal pet trade. Because when we look at wildlife trafficking as such, there is a lot of importance and there's a lot of weightage. And there are films that have been done on the meat trade, be it the shark fin trade, be it the manta ray gill plate trade. All those have been already touched upon. But a lot of people don't know that wild animals are trafficked to be kept as pets as well. You won't believe, I was in Southeast Asia at one of the most infamous wildlife markets recently, a couple of months ago. And I saw meerkats being kept in cages. I saw capuchin monkeys. I saw different species of tortoises, of turtles, of frogs that are in the rainforests of Amazons. I saw, a species, a mammal that is native to South America being kept in a cage, all the way in a market in Southeast Asia with price labels on them. And that was heartbreaking for me to see that. And you're actually seeing people who are fascinated, by this. And that appalls me. And it really hits home when you realize that an animal that is meant to roam free in the wild is being kept in a 2x2 cage, and that too for sale. Where are we heading? Where is the world heading? So if my film can change people's perceptions, it can change behavior, then great. Then I've done my job as a filmmaker.
I think I really, I understand your emotion behind every word that you're saying, and I really hope and I pray and wish that through your films, people do realize that They are not meant to cage. And I've been talking to a lot of other friends in the wildlife space, and everybody has different topics that they are trying to talk about. What support do you expect from the government and the other authorities? What they should be doing? Because how much can you and I or people like us do? So what do you expect from the government?
See, the government is already working on a lot of projects, okay, when it comes to wildlife and conservation. But I think it's not just the government. I think when it comes to wildlife conservation, it has to be a collective effort. It has to be individuals, citizens like you and me. There are obviously NGOs and conservation is doing their bit. Scientists are doing their bit in terms of research. Corporates also need to step up and give the necessary funding and also pledge their bit in doing greener business. Because, and right now, I think what the thought that we need to propagate is that conservation makes business sense. It is of economic value to the nation that you protect the nation's natural capital. So it's not just about GDP and business and development, but you also need to look at the natural capital that is there in the country. And when India is one of the most biodiverse regions in the world, we have about 7 to 8% of the world's wildlife in our country, which is huge. And yes, we are a growing nation, we are a developing nation, but India can be, I would say, a much more sustainable nation if we look at greening our businesses, if we look at seriously at our economy, in shaping our economy in such a way that we look at conservation as a part of doing our business.
So can we make it a little more simpler for our audience? When you say people like you and me, citizens, what are those basic conservation things that a normal citizen can do according to you?
Stop using plastic. That's a basic first step that you can take, because plastic kills. Today our oceans are filled with plastic. I don't know if you just Google plastic pollution, you will see graphic visuals where you can see turtles choking on plastic, you can see fishes choking on plastic. Marine life is dying because of plastic. So stop using single-use plastic. I know it's a decision that can't be taken suddenly, because plastic has literally infiltrated our lives so much that today it's difficult to give up plastic. But at least start that change slowly in your lifestyle. Start segregating dry and wet garbage. The government is doing a lot of initiative on that, and that really help recycle and reuse the waste also properly. So these are things. Don't litter when you go out. We just drink from a water bottle, a plastic water bottle, we throw that out. Don't do that. Disposing it off in the right place will definitely help in building a world that is better. These are basic things. Even if it says, if you look at products that can have animal cruelty, like leather, for instance, don't buy leather. Don't use leather. Look for alternatives. I, for instance, don't wear silk. I don't use leather at all, because these are conscious decisions that I have taken. But as another citizen, you can also make those decisions.
Amazing. Now, if we talk about corporates, where you said, you are saying that they should invest, but what else can corporates today do other than just investing money?
Other than investing money, they can also ensure their businesses have lesser carbon footprint. I mean, they can look at, you can look at building industries that reduce pollution, that are, that generate lesser waste. Okay, that will help our planet. That industries that are less toxic for our planet. So corporates can, it may be costlier for them, but at the end, their bottom line will definitely be better off in the future.
Amazing. Now, with this, Aishwarya, any other message you want to give our audience?
I would like to tell all the photographers and filmmakers out there that, look and search for stories that really will inspire people, that will really touch the heart and soul of, a person. Because photography and filming are, I would say, a very, very important and a very powerful tool today that we storytellers have with us to create change in the society. I mean, today visual communication is like really picked up. We're living in the age of social media. And I would say, most of the content that is shared 50 to 60% of it is visual images that are shared, more than textual in terms of the reposting and all of that. So if you're really able to communicate and capture images that really speak to the audience, then you will definitely be able to educate people, to inspire them to act.
So what's your take on visual communication as a subject?
It's a very powerful medium. Okay, like I said, I mean, a beautiful picture, if you look at pictures as such, pictures or even documentaries, you can have a beautiful picture or a documentary that's more blue chip like, that kind of celebrates nature, that looks at the beauty of nature, and that can make people really care about the species. Like if you look at the Bengal tiger, okay, it's been documented a lot by photographers and filmmakers worldwide. And that's possibly one of the main reasons today it is one of the most iconic endangered species that we have in the world. And because it was highly documented, the pain that the Bengal tiger suffers was documented, people really woke up to the plight of it. And you had a worldwide campaign that put an end to tiger poaching. Okay, and not just that, it also helped protect the habitat of that particular species. But it's not just pretty pictures that inspire. Sometimes photographs can really shock people into action as well. Okay, if you look at issues, you can really highlight and spotlight issues like wildlife trafficking, like plastic pollution, deforestation, in terms of air or water pollution. All of these you can document with images, with documentaries that can really shake people up and make them sit up and take notice of what is happening in the world. Someone may not know what are the issues our planet is facing because of human impact. Our actions have actually caused a lot of devastation, which we as common citizens may not know. But when you watch a documentary or when you see images, visual graphic evidence, you then sit up and take notice. I am someone who firmly believes in the fact that you love something, you will protect that. And you love something that you understand. And you understand much better when you see something. At the end of the day, that is a fact. I mean, I look at something, my understanding is much more than when I just maybe read about it or hear about it. So the visual element is extremely powerful. Today, we can look at photographs and documentaries, and they're really changing the way in which we look at nature. At the end of the day, it's photographic evidence that cannot be ignored. So it kind of stirs the conscience of people and makes them connect with nature in a way that they previously have not connected with. And when you care for something, you will work towards protecting it. Okay? Today, by photographing or by filming something that we stand to lose, we inspire the world to protect what we still have. So we as filmmakers and storytellers are giving voice to the voiceless. And we are being the voice for our planet and creating hundreds and thousands of planet guardians and planet defenders who will in turn, protect the wildlife and the biodiversity that's left on our planet. So as storytellers, we hold an immense power, especially because through the visual medium, be it films or still photographs, we can really inspire not just people. I'm talking about world leaders, about governments, about policymakers, about corporates, about organizations, and we can bring them together to work towards a better planet. That's what visual communication to me is.
Amazing. I mean, I totally love it actually with it. For somebody who's newly wanting to start up, okay, I mean, and I think I'll take that as myself as an example now. I know I'm a photographer who's been wanting to go there. But what are those how do I start? What is the start point for somebody who really wants to start exploring the wildlife?
I would say start with your own backyard. I mean, you have wildlife literally in your own city. I mean, for you, it's Mumbai, right? Flamingos, they're in your backyard. Okay, also if someone wants to journey to say a wildlife sanctuary, maybe a tiger sanctuary or a lion sanctuary or leopard sanctuary for that matter, then look at the nearest, first of all, see the do's and don'ts in wildlife. So you need to maintain a distance from the animal. Respect the animal will respect you. That's the standard that you have to follow. Okay? Never intrude into the personal space of that animal for your shot. have a moral boundary that you need to have. It's like just like humans. I mean, we won't intrude into someone's personal space for a shot, right? Even if it's a model, if it's a paid model. Similarly, even with animals, you need to draw that line. Okay, and that comes from your own subconscious. You need to, you need to decide that beyond this, I will not chase that animal. I will not cross this line. So that comes from within. Okay, and the very general tip is that you don't wear bright colors when you go into jungle. Wear subtle colors like camouflage.
So people say wear greens and browns.
Yeah, greens and browns generally, or even beige. That will kind of help you blend in with your surroundings.
How important is the colors?
Colors is important, especially when I am on foot. Okay, if I'm say birding, then yes, colors are definitely important because birds can be very shy. So it's important to sit in a hide. That time you can you get nowadays hides as well from Decathlon and all of that. So you can sit in those hides with camouflage covers to help photograph birds better, because then you're not intruding into their space. You just blend in as a part of the surrounding for the bird at least. I have not seen. In fact, I have some of the most weirdest incident has been like people who have worn very bright colors inside jungles, safari jungles. I've seen the best tiger sighting. I have seen that. I mean, I have gone in camouflage wear and there will be a tourist gadi that goes by and that person will be wearing bright red and they will say, we have seen a tiger walk head on for 30 minutes. And I'll be like, okay.
So during in tigers, it doesn't work?
I don't know, but at least I follow to wear greens and browns and, beiges. That's just a funny thing I said.
Okay, so let's talk about one funniest incident that you had, whether with a bird or the funniest, which makes people laugh or which makes you...
Oh, I've been robbed by a monkey. My sandwich was eaten once by a monkey. It was during the Bandar...
Were you with the camera? Do you have a picture of that?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't, because it was a mistake that I made. So on the Karnala road, right? I had not rolled down. I rolled down the window. I had not pulled the window up. And so actually a very pathetic sight because the monkeys over there, the rhesus macaques and boy macaques, because tourists have been feeding them so much, they literally kind of raid now cars and buses and bikes and everything. So I did not know that initially. So I had left my car window open and I had gone to speak to one friend of mine. And my bag was open, the zip. Oh, my sandwich was kept there.
Oh my.
He saw this monkey and suddenly my friend told me, look, something is happening there. And I see this boy macaque going through my bag. And then it picks up this sandwich and into the bag. That was, it was funny to some extent, but it was also, in a way, I felt sad because for an animal, it shouldn't be eating junk food. That animal is meant to be feeding in the wild its natural diet of fruits and whatever. It shouldn't be fruits and leaves. It shouldn't be eating, a sandwich. And that's because maybe humans have gone about feeding it so much that today it thinks that is its food. And that is wrong. I mean, that's sad for the wildlife.
So I understand. And okay, let's talk about the most scariest experience.
Well, I've not had any.
None scariest?
None. I have always, had very pleasant memories with the jungle. Never had any scary incidents of being charged by a tiger or anything of that sort. Maybe the scariest I would say was once I was stuck in a quicksand. When I was in my teenage years, this was in Kutch. And there I got stuck in a quicksand while filming and photographing flamingos. So that was scary. I went waist deep and I did not know it was actually quicksand. I was busy photographing the flamingos thinking it's, they're coming closer and they're coming closer till they flew and I wanted to move. And then I realized I can't because I'm stuck waist deep in it. I had literally sunk and I had not realized that at all. It's only when I moved my camera and I tried to move that I realized, oh my God, I'm stuck. So then luckily my dad was there. So he and the driver of the Jeep, they kind of threw a rope and they pulled me out and I lost my shoes in the bargain and I went back. Luckily, nothing happened to me. So that was scary. That incident was definitely scary.
While you're out there, you shouldn't get so emotional.
What's happening to you?
Be alert in the surrounding.
That is there. It was an incident that happened long time back. I was 16 or something. So maybe even lesser. Yeah.
So this was brilliant, Aishwarya. Thank you for putting so much light to such small basic things. But what are the other 5 things important while, if I am first time going on a trip? So what are those 5 things that I should take care of for anybody?
I should carry with me. One would be a mosquito repellent. Okay, you get bitten a lot. So yes, you must carry a mosquito repellent. Binoculars. If you're interested in birding, then definitely have a bird book with you. The Carol Inskip, Tim Inskip bird guide is very good. Birds of India guide. Then I would say wear shoes that suit the terrain. So if you have to trek, then have that, ensure that you're wearing the right gear with you. You're carrying the right gear with you rather. And of course, stay hydrated. That's most important.
And how much is it better always to start off going alone, or you should go with friends, or
I would say go with friends or go with family if they're interested, or at least go with a group of people who know what the jungle is like, so that you are not introduced into an environment which you get scared of. Because I've had people, who go solo into the jungle for the first time and they come back and tell me, oh my, that's so scary. It's if you're especially on foot, then it becomes sometimes scary for them. But as a person who's been trekking and doing that stuff, I don't find that scary. But yes, for someone who's going for it for the first time, I would say maybe go with a group of people who know what the jungle is. So you will enjoy much better, because they'll be also telling you the different kinds of birds that you're seeing, the whole flora and the ecosystem. They'll explain everything of that to you. So that's much more better. Then you will learn a lot more.
all right.
Because my first trip to the jungle, my first tiger sanctuary trip was at Pench. And it was because of the Naturalist and the way he explained the jungle so well to me that I really got very deeply attached to this whole safari thing. Because before that, I had not ever been on a safari. I had only gone birding. So when I went to a jungle for the first time to see a tiger, and the way he explained the whole ecosystem to me, and he showed me the whole food chain right in front of me, that's when I really got interested in how wildlife, in terms of behavior and everything, that I got keen on.
So who are the people who always inspired you? Who've been an inspiration?
In terms of filmmakers, I would say Beverly and Derek Joubert. Their big cat stories have been really awe-inspiring for me. Then definitely Martin Dawn, Mark Diebel, Richard Ladkani for A Sea of Shadows. I really looked up to him for his investigative work. In India, I would say Sandesh Kadur, Shekhar Dattatri. I really love the kind of films that they do.
Wow, amazing. And in photographers?
In photographers, Ratika Ramaswamy, Latika Nath, Shivang sir for his camera trapping images. They're out of the world.
Amazing. So how much do you get inspired looking at other people's pictures while you make? So do you think their work inspires you to a level where...
It definitely makes me push my boundaries more when I look at other people's work. Definitely. When I look at Shivang sir's camera trapping images, I want to learn camera trapping. That's something that I've never done before. And I'm definitely keen on learning that aspect, because that kind of lends a different viewpoint to the viewers. It literally places the viewers in the heart of the story when you look at camera traps and the images that they can produce. Or even in terms of technology, you've got, I would say, VR, virtual reality has now come about. So that's something that I'm also, keen on looking into, because it literally makes you, as a storyteller, you can give an experience to the viewer which is very immersive, which otherwise till now has not been possible. So yes, when I look at other people's work, it definitely makes me want to push myself more.
So let's, before we wrap, let's talk about your passion or your hobby other than photography.
I would say swimming. Okay, I'm a big water baby. And I also love playing chess. Okay, I have participated in a couple of school state competitions in my younger days. And I love playing badminton as well.
Okay, so these are your hobbies, but what about poetries?
Poetry has been a very big, it's played a very big role in my initial journey, in fact. So not many people know this, but I actually love writing. So I started off more with nature and everything, what I observed. I used to translate that in poems. And those poems have been published in newspapers, in magazines and everything. So as a teenager, as a school kid, I have written a lot of poems. I would say 200 plus, which have been published on various platforms. And then it went into filmmaking and photography and everything.
Wow. So how much does it, even today, how much do poetries come into you while you're there in the wildlife? I mean,
it comes all the time. I still write. But I don't know. I've kind of lost the time to find publishing houses to publish it.
Now you're finding them to publish your films.
Yes. Now the concentration is on that. But yes, definitely I still write. I write a lot. In fact, I would say poetry and writing has really helped in my storytelling as well. So I am also a student of English literature. And that has also helped in the way I craft my stories. That has really had a huge impact on me, on my films as such.
So now if I try to sum this up, so you're a poet,
yes,
and an English literature student, turned photographer, now a filmmaker telling stories. Is that one line?
Yeah, one line summary.
So I think it's great, Aishwarya, that I've got to know this over the last hour of chatting with you, that this is what Aishwarya is. She's not just a photographer or filmmaker. She's way more than that. But yeah, looking forward to seeing more and more of your work. And I really wish you success, that you go out there and you are able to create the message, you're able to give the message out to the world. And yeah, me and the entire Capturing One team are there to support you in any medium where we can help you with the environment conservation that you are here trying to talk to people and give out a message.
Thank you so much. That really means a lot. I mean, Capturing Wow is an amazing platform that really brings together storytellers from different genres. And I think that is something that we really need in India right now. We need that collectiveness among the industry folks. And I feel that Capturing Wow is able to bring that.
Absolutely. And I think we need to get all our other speakers together where they need to, people like me who are not into the wildlife also, need to realize the value of visual storytelling. And we all commercially doing so much of work. But if all the commercial photographers, filmmakers start realizing the emotion behind the wildlife, I think we'll be able to change the world and make it a better place for sure.
Definitely.
So it was lovely having you, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me here.
My pleasure.
It was an amazing conversation with you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
What an enriching dive into the captivating world of wildlife photography. My dear friends, मुझे तो बहुत मजा आया. आप लोगों को आज की conversation कैसी लगी? I was so mesmerized with Aishwarya's work. Yes, she truly illuminated the beauty of a planet through a lens. I've been following her work, लेकिन अगर आप नहीं कर रहे हैं, I must say you must go right away follow her on Instagram. And I'm sure मुझे तो already कर ही रहे हो, right? So guys, अगले एपिसोड में क्या होने वाला है? आपको मालूम है कौन है हमारा अगला गेस्ट? Yes, the next guest coming in is again a very, very close friend of mine. I have had the pleasure of talking to him over the past few years. Yes, he is the king of the interior architecture hospitality space. The way he looks at spaces is brilliant. He runs Photographics India, that's his company, and he's also the president of the Society of Architecture and Interior Photography. I'm super excited for the upcoming session too. So guys, stay tuned. But before we go, थोड़ा आपको glimpse देखना है, थोड़ी झलक देखनी है. So we'll play a small teaser to tease you कि क्या होने वाला है अगले एपिसोड में. So yeah, here's the teaser for you.
यही है फोटोग्राफी. तुमको लगा कि बड़ा कुछ नहीं है, यही है. There are no girls in our shoot and you have to tuck bench. If you're interested, join us.
We spoke about the fact that you saw the world while the negative was there. The digital age. Now let's talk about the AI age.
You know, you need somebody with a better vocabulary who can do a good prompt. मेरा सवाल इधर है ना कि how does one become a photographer if he is using compositing? It is somebody else's work there. The Photoshop artist's work that is making you a better photographer.
So, my dear friends, let's gear up and see you guys again in the next episode. This is your host, Luv Israni, signing off. Till then, stay tuned for your weekly doses of learning, and I'll make sure you level up with me.